Welcome to the Movies to Watch Before You Die podcast. My name is Gab, and I am here with my cousin and co-host.
Dylan.
And today we are talking about a movie that I nominated as one to watch before you die. Dylan, did I tell you how this came to be? How I came to choose this movie?
No, what inspired it?
So Corey and I were walking down the street, and in order to get to our gym, we have to walk past Madison Square Garden, right? The famous Madison Square Garden. And on a billboard was an announcement for a concert, and the concert that was coming up was Josh Groban and Jennifer Hudson. And I looked at it, and then I looked at Corey, and I said, "Wow, that is a mom concert. Every mom in America wants to go see that concert." And he was like, "Who is Josh Groban?" And I was like, the You Raised Me Up guy. And he was like, "What?" And I was like, and then I sang it. And he was like, "I don't know what you're talking about." So then I took out my phone and I played it. And he was like, "No, I have never heard this." And I was like, okay, this must be some white people shit, I guess.
Oh, definitely.
Is really the only thing that I can think of. But I was like, you must know Josh Groban. He's actually really funny. He's been in a bunch of stuff. And then I pulled up his IMDb and Crazy Stupid Love came up. And I was like, oh, that's a great movie. We should do that on the podcast. And so because Corey didn't know who Josh Groban is, now we just recently watched Crazy Stupid Love.
I do feel like it's hard to trace the fame of Josh Groban because, like, what what made him break out? Because I know he's on Broadway. He's been on Broadway before, I should say. Everybody seems to like him, or I should, when I say everybody, I mean white folks seem to like
White people, yeah.
Can't
Yeah.
get enough of the Groves.
I often think of him as one of those guys who had like an infomercial of their compilation CDs, but I think that's Michael Bublé. That wasn't Josh Groban. He didn't have the crooner, compilation.
I guess not, but for some reason that he fits into the same box in my brain as Michael Bublé and like Harry Connick Jr. because I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, they do some singing. They, sometimes they act and stuff. I guess I don't know. They pop up in places.
Yeah. But Josh Groban was on Parks and Rec. He has been in a lot of different things.
Well, he's shown up in so many TV shows as Josh Groban. I feel like too. Like he's
Yeah.
in an episode of It's Always Sunny just as Josh Groban.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It is
But
interesting. He's such an interesting level of fame.
yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder if he's big on social media. But anyway, so today we are doing what is it, 2010, 2011?
2011.
The 2011 Josh Groban picture, Crazy Stupid Love.
The perfect vehicle for Josh Groban. Crazy Stupid Love.
Yes. You had seen this before, correct?
Absolutely.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So that's how it came to be, and that's what we did. So, Dylan, why don't you tell the people what Crazy Stupid Love is about?
What's this all been about? What am I working toward?
Explain!
As you would a child.
You think you know everything about me, don't you?
I dive at your bottom. I bloody well ought to.
Crazy Stupid Love is about Steve Carell and Ryan Gosling, who play Cal Weaver and Jacob, whatever.
Palmer.
And does he say his last name is Palmer?
Yeah,
Okay.
put some respect on it. We were debating whether or not his character was Jewish.
I don't think so, but
I
in
don't
my
think
head,
so
am I
either.
just like, there's no Jew that cool.
Also a possibility. His name is Jacob, which is a tally in the Jew column. But then his last name is Palmer, which is not in the Jew column. But also he has a very distinct New York accent, which could make him a Jew. So really, the characteristics lean toward Jew, but it's not a guarantee.
We could ask Steve Carell if he's circumcised because he sees Fulton Gosling, but we don't. Cal is getting divorced from his wife and is really in a rut. Meanwhile, Jacob is womanizing and wants to help him be more like him, even though we come to find out he's not fully happy who he is either. And basically, the both of them are trying to rediscover themselves.
Yeah. What does IMDb say?
According to IMDb, a middle-aged husband's life changes dramatically when his wife asks him for a divorce. He seeks to rediscover his manhood with help from new acquaintance Jacob, who teaches him to pick up women at bars.
Yeah.
Now, Gab, I'll tell you, this is one of the weak. Like, I went to the IMDb tagline section. This is one of the weaker ones I've ever seen.
Oh no. Okay.
There are 3 taglines. I will give you the first, and you will guess the latter.
Okay.
The first tagline: "This is crazy." What do you think the
Oh,
next two are, Gab?
this is stupid.
I
This
know
is
it's
love.
stupid, but what do you think the tagline is? Yes. So, whack,
Do
whack
you know what that makes me
taglines.
think of?
What?
Do you remember? I want to preface this by saying I don't get it. I don't know where it came from. I only know this like tertiarily. The Shrek is life, Shrek is love. Do you know what I'm talking
Yes,
about?
I do.
I don't know. I feel like it's disgusting.
It's weird,
Um
like YouTube poop. Yeah,
yeah, but that's what that makes me think of.
it's just not good. The middle one being this is stupid. I'm like, yeah, it kind of is.
Yeah. Would you characterize this as an ensemble film?
Sort of. Part of me wants to say that just because of the names that are involved, but not really because I feel like there's only three characters who are mainly followed, and I would say it's Emma Stone, Ryan Gosling, and Steve Carell. Like even Julianne Moore as you know the wife getting divorced in the scenario is kind of in the background. But
What about the son and the babysitter?
that's a good enough point. They're definitely the B story, but yeah, I guess this is fuck it. I'll give it to you. I would call it an ensemble then. There's just there. It's a wealth of talent in the cast. It just feels like though we have our main characters for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Do we need to give any more detail?
Not, I don't know if we do because it is a rom com. The plot summary we gave you is really a setup for what it is. Although even in the plot summary, it doesn't really mention Hannah, Emma Stone's character, at all.
Hmm.
So I guess the only thing I would also set up here is we also have Emma Stone as Hannah, who is sort of in a place in her life where everything is too safe and wants to take a risk. And she's been hit on in the bar by Jacob and sort of becomes interested in pursuing him.
Right. However, we have left out one crucial character in all of this discussion.
The son?
Josh Groban.
And yeah, Josh Groban is her very safe boyfriend who she works at the same law firm as. I guess she's almost a lawyer. Like she's about to pass the bar or something like that. I guess she just took
Hmm.
the bar. It is funny because he's not like a big character in this at all.
Yeah.
And they make him out to be like, he's such a lesser option. And I'm like, so many people would love Groban. So many people would disagree with you and think Groban is great.
Yeah, but he's like a douchebag in this movie. Like his character is lame.
He's not a douchebag. He's just very boring. They make
Yeah.
him so safe and boring, I guess.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, I'm like, listen, is he as good looking as Ryan Gosling? As we established in our Project Hail Mary episode,
Who
no,
among us?
he is
Yeah.
not as good looking as Ryan Gosling.
Yeah.
But he's Josh Groban. He's better looking than the common man.
Yeah, he probably sings better than Ryan Gosling. Although, does Ryan Gosling not have a Grammy
For what?
for the I'm Just Ken?
Oh my God, did he win a Grammy for that?
I don't know. And now that I've said it out loud, I'm like, oof, this sounds stupid. But I feel like let me look. I'm Just Ken. Grammy.
I know he performed that at the Academy Awards. I don't think he did. The song was nominated for
Oh,
best.
Critics' Choice Award.
It was nominated for a Grammy, but it did not win. It did win Best Song at the Critics' Choice Awards.
Damn. Okay. All right. I'm like, all we need to do is get this man on Broadway and he can be an EGOT.
I wouldn't be surprised if you told me 20 years from now, either one of these guys could have an EGOT.
Yeah, I think it would probably be a little bit easier for Josh Groban. He's done all of the things
Yes,
that you need to like Ryan Gosling would have to venture out of his comfort zone, but he
that's
could.
true. I have a friend who used to go, why isn't it? I like the sound of Toge better. We should call it a Toge. I'm like, what? And he's like, Toge, Tony, Oscar, Grammy, Emmy. And I'm like, but why? And he's like, I just like saying Toge. I'm like, fair enough. More power to you.
Yeah, that's okay. It works for me.
He just didn't want to go along with the EGOT thing. He also didn't believe in dinosaurs existing either. So,
Okay. Well,
interesting guy.
yeah. Hope he's well. I'm sure he's already died of malaria. Okay, so we're not going to give too much more context. And by the way, I would argue that the reason that Emma Stone's character is not brought up a lot is because the twist is that she's more important than she seemed in the beginning of the movie.
Yes, we're going to give you a big spoiler warning here before we get into opinions or anything, because there is a major twist at some point in this movie. It is right now on HBO Max if you want to go watch it and come back. If you've seen it already and you don't care, spoilers ahead. But I had somebody get very adamantly angry that we spoiled Good Boy in like the weapons episode, or we spoiled weapons in an episode. And I was like, I literally went down the rabbit hole of searching like how long after the movie came out was this? And it was like still several months. And I like checking, is it on streaming? It was like, it was on streaming already. I had to become defensive because I was like, you had opportunity. This is not,
Yeah.
that's not on me.
Do you know how many times I've just been scrolling on Instagram and I've had something spoiled, like the drama movie that everybody was talking about with Zendaya that I
I
didn't
watched
end up
it.
going to see? How was it?
I thought it was great.
Shut up, really?
I really liked it.
Fuck, you should have told me that. We kept thinking, should we go to the movie? Should we not? I was like, I already know what
Well, I just
happens.
watched it like 2 nights ago, but yes,
Oh, okay, good.
I did not go to the movies to see it.
Was it worth it's worth watching?
Absolutely.
Oh, let me follow that up with a question. Is it worth watching for two people that are 45 days away from their wedding?
Well, it's not that expensive to rent a movie.
No, no. No, but I'm scared that it's like one of those like don't get married because you never know. Like I don't need that.
No, I do not think it will dissuade you and Corey out of your nuptials.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Well, then maybe I know what we're gonna do this weekend, I guess. Okay, so but I opened up my Instagram feed innocently and I am bombarded with, if you've heard about this new movie, then we should talk about. And I'm like, now I know.
I saw the twist for the drama get spoiled like 5 months before the movie came out on Reddit. And I was like, is that really what it is? And then I was like, yeah, no, that's what the twist was. And I was like, well, thanks for that. That's great.
Fuck. And the movie was still good even though you knew that?
Yeah. It does not impact it at all. And you find out what people, I wouldn't even call it a twist because you find that out in the first like 15 to 20 minutes.
Oh, okay. Okay,
Yeah.
good. There are some movies that as a society we did a really good job of not spoiling for one another.
I can't imagine if like The Sixth Sense came out now in the year of our Lord 2026,
No way.
everyone would have gotten it spoiled before the movie even came out.
Yeah. Yeah. I was shocked at how much of a good job everybody did with Sinners.
I'm not spoiling what specifically.
So when Sinners was being promoted, there was a lot of imagery, but not a lot of plot, right? So people didn't know what it was about. They knew it was a period piece. They knew it was Michael B. Jordan, but they didn't know the details, personally, in my experience.
Yeah, I
Because
feel like
when
I
I
definitely
saw
saw that, but I look into that a lot more than I think you do.
Yeah, I didn't know. So I walked into the movie theater and the vampires came out and I was like, what? I couldn't fucking believe it. I was like, holy shit, this is a vampire movie. I was stoked. I had no idea.
I know it's not the instinct of movies nowadays. I want movies to market themselves just a little bit less. Like there are some movies where you need to market more, but like Avengers Doomsday does not even need to put out a trailer and that movie's going to make $1 billion because people
Yeah.
are already primed to see it. And I know as it gets closer, they're going to start putting out more and more and more. And part of me is like, less is more. Let people want it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Nothing
Oh,
wrong with
100%.
that. Yeah.
No, one of the reasons that I didn't want to go see the drama anymore after it had been spoiled for me was because I had such a good experience going to see Sinners and not knowing what it was going to be that I was like, I want to recreate that. I want to go to a movie and not know what it's going to be. Because, I mean, even like Project Hail Mary, I tried to do that where I was like, I know that it's space and I know there's an alien and that's all I know. But that was still like a little too much.
I think if I know I'm going to see a movie, I'm like starting to try less and less to watch the trailers. It depends how excited I am for it too. Like
Yeah.
the best example I can think of is the Batman Part 2. They're getting ready to start filming stuff. And I am watching for every single update of any kind. I'm like, there's a picture of there's going to be snow in the movie. There's going to be snow, people. Whoa. And that I'm going to watch every single trailer for. But like the Odyssey, the next Christopher Nolan movie, I'm probably going to see it. So,
Shut up.
I'm not going to watch
Absolutely fucking not.
I'm not going to watch the trailers for it because I'm like, I don't need to see the trailer. I know what it is, you know?
That shit, I didn't like. I didn't want to read the Odyssey. I don't want to go see the Odyssey.
I mean, it's a great Simpsons story. I love Homer.
Homer is fat and bald. I saw the trailer, Dill. There was no Homer.
You know, perhaps we deserve more respect for the fat and bald out there as somebody who may one day be one.
Which?
Why not both? Volcano Los Dos. We're straying from what we need to get back to, which is our opinions about Crazy Stupid Love. Should we get to those?
Let's get to opinion time.
In this critic's opinion,
that's just like your opinion, man.
Well, I have a right to my opinion, and my opinion is you have no right to your opinion.
I'm going to start with, there was a comment that was said that the title of this movie should be something different. So the person I'm watching the movie with said, the title of the movie should be Everyone is Too Hard on Steve Carell, the movie. You know what? I kind of agree with that, because at a certain point, everybody is mean to him at some point. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think the person who does not catch nearly enough smoke in this movie is Emily, his ex-wife, Julianne Moore, who it is one thing to, at the very beginning of the movie, we get a big shock value of like, let's both say what we want at the same time. He wants creme brulee for dessert. She wants a divorce. Nothing wrong with that. But then on the drive home, she like is word vomiting and can't help but say she's been not sleeping with, but has slept with somebody else already. She fucked, they say his name many times,
David Lindhagen.
David Lindhagen, who makes a cuckold. David Lindhagen makes a cuckold of Cal. And then I feel like because Cal, once he is single, sees other women, it becomes like we get this scene, which is sort of our first small twist of when we find out Marissa Tomei, who is the first woman that Cal sees or sleeps with, I should say. He picks her up at the bar. Turns out to be their son Robbie's teacher. And it becomes this whole big scene where he makes a comment about, when I was with you, you were the only one I slept with, and now I slept with, I think he says 9 women. And she gets this whole thing of, well, you showed me, and I know I can't be mad because I, cheated on you with somebody else. And he doesn't say anything, and like nobody says anything. And I'm like, she needs to catch more smoke. The only person who's giving her any smoke at all is the babysitter. Is like, I don't want your slutty money. And you know what?
Yeah,
there needed to be a little bit more of that energy. Because honestly, you know what scene, and maybe it's just, I guess I should just say, more relatable to me now than the first time I watched it as a man who, I guess I can say, is divorced. When his friend Bernie, who I guess is a friend of Cal and Emily's, they have a married friend, Bernie, who they're friends with the husband and wife. I don't remember his wife's name. He comes into the bar, and Cal clearly is so desperate to see his friend, and it's like, oh, Bernie, thank God you're here. He sits down, he chugs a glass of wine. He gives him a bag from Macy's, which he says, sorry, I'm late. I had to stop at Macy's. So I'm like, you're giving me a gift that you were purposefully late because of the gift. I'm trying to remember the exact way he phrases it, where he says to him,
he says basically like, we had to choose.
She said we had to choose between you and Emily. I chose you, but she said no. Which, you know what? Very relatable. I get it. And I was like, Bernie, damn, man, you failed your boy. Yeah.
It's unfortunate. It really is, especially because the wife seemed like such a bitch.
I mean, here's what I'll say is they don't give her that much of a character, and I think it gives a lot of credit to Julianne Moore as an actress that you still, like, I did not hate Emily. And I feel
meant
like
Bernie's wife is a bitch.
Oh, Bernie's wife is, yes, they do make her just seem like an asshole the whole movie. You're right. Claire, is her name Claire, maybe?
I don't know.
Doesn't matter. I will keep going, though, about Julianne Moore as Emily, because that is a character I should despise. And you know what is one of my favorite scenes in the movie is Cal.
Can I guess?
Yeah.
Cal is outside doing the lawn, and she steps away to call him. Yep, I knew it.
Cal is in the backyard because he is just trying to maintain the household for them because he still cares about his family deeply. And while he's doing it, he sees his family inside. They're all eating ice cream. His ex-wife, his son, and his daughter. She steps away for a moment, and he realizes she's calling him. And she lies about why she's calling. She says she's calling for the pilot light and the heater or the water burner or whatever it is. And he knows she's lying, but he also then just like walks her through it in the fake steps. And because of how good Julianne Moore and Steve Carell are, like, your heart is floating for these two who are not in a good spot, but you're just like, the movie makes you root for them, even though they've already botched it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think in the hands of lesser actors, it wouldn't work.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. I think that I have so many opinions, and a lot of them are more superficial about the story. So
Sure.
I want to address this, but I want to start by shifting gears a little bit. Okay.
Shift away.
So the first time I saw this movie was in the movie theaters. I believe I saw it with Scott, friend of the show, who makes the music for this podcast. I believe we went to see this movie together. Forgive me if I'm mistaken, but that's how I remember it going. And I remember really liking it, but feeling like it wasn't quite it didn't quite nail it for me. Like I liked it on paper, but I didn't feel it the way that I feel, when I watch When Harry Met Sally, for example, right? Like it just wasn't quite the same. And then I watched it again at another point, and I had like a very similar experience where I was like, this is so good, but like it's just not doing what other movies do for me. Then I watched it again after I got divorced, and I was still just like, I don't know. And in that viewing, like 5 years ago at this point, I remember thinking, it doesn't really seem fair that she cheated on him and now she gets to live in the house and have ice cream with the kids and he has to live in this bullshit apartment and like his entire world got upended because she was like over it. And I don't know, something about that just like didn't really sit right with me. And I think it would be a little different if they sold their house and she and the kids lived in a new house and he lived in an apartment. Like, I feel like, okay, fine. But this idea of like, yeah, we're just going on about our lives. We just all sat down and decided that you can't be here anymore. Like, I didn't like that.
He makes a comment, and it's when they're in the car on the way back that he's like, I'll sign the papers, I'll do whatever you want. You know what I mean? So I think he chooses to leave because they're not going to sell the house. Like, that's just even more disruptive for the kids.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Yeah, it definitely feels that way, that it's very upending only for him. And I think we kind of need that because the movie's more so about him than it is about her, certainly. Like
Yeah.
it's told from his point of view.
Yeah. And listen, I've never been divorced with children. I don't know what that looks like. I don't, you
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like that, it doesn't matter. But that was sort of an interesting perspective for me. And then additionally, I felt as though, and this, I will say that I felt this way on this viewing too. So I'll talk about this viewing specifically. This movie has, and this is why I asked you if you thought it was an ensemble movie, because it has a lot of characters and there are a
Yes.
lot of different storylines and they intersect so perfectly and so beautifully. And that is far and away the best moment of this movie when all of the storylines intersect.
Yes.
However, I do feel like because there are so many people and such little time, we don't really get to know any of them. So, Steve Carell, Cal, we don't know when he stopped trying in his marriage. We don't know when Emily felt that he wasn't trying anymore. We don't know when she met David Lindhagen and they started, what that looked like. We don't know when Jacob became Jacob. And at one point, they sort of do this thing where they like force feed us a little bit of background on him, but we just don't get enough. We don't know enough about the babysitter. We don't know enough about how long she's been with the family, how long she's had a crush on Cal, how long the son has had a crush on the babysitter. And it's no fault of the movie because it moves at a good pace and we need it to.
Yeah, I don't
But
think we would want much more of any of that. I could imagine
no.
maybe one like prologue scene where it's I can picture like one scene of young Cal and Emily and maybe them mini golfing and having the time of their lives, and then it jumps right to them with the kids being like in a rush, disconnected.
Yes, exactly. Or even like a really nice montage scene of them or like Jacob, maybe like getting picked on in high school for being a loser or like not, having a girlfriend and whatever. Because these characters, you don't understand much about them. And so for me, it almost feels like this awesome story. But when you're actually watching it unfold, it's like, the emotion is very much like logical. It's like, oh yes, I can see that this is beautiful, but I'm not like teary. I'm not feeling it because I don't really know these people.
I sort of agree. I feel like this succeeds more as a comedy than it does as a rom-com. You know what I
Mm,
mean? Like, I don't think it's trying too hard to really get you emotionally feeling like it's not trying to be like the Notebook in that sense of tug your heartstrings so much like that, where it's just more so a human story about these people. And I think having less background makes them more relatable as audience stand-ins, maybe. But yeah, we definitely don't get a lot of background on that. And I think part of it's upsetting only because it does feel like for Cal and Emily, and maybe this is just my trauma speaking, it feels like it's equivocating them as like, I don't even want to say that he checked out because it seems like he was just more focused on being a great dad and working on the yard. Meanwhile, we get Emily, who is like, well, saying he was kind of checked out, but she slept with somebody else. And it's like, it equivocates the two. Like, he cuts her off at one point talking about cheating, and he's like, I wasn't doing a good enough job in our marriage. And I'm like, well, you did two very different things. You weren't doing enough positively. She did something very negative. You know what I mean?
yeah. Oh, 100%. I completely agree with that. And I think I also don't love the I won't say I don't love, but the intro of the movie where it's a restaurant scene and we're seeing all of these feet under the table and it's, women brushing their legs up against a man or women in heels and men in really nice shoes and you get the scene that it's like a nice romantic restaurant, dimly lit, candles on the table. And then we get to Cal and Emily's table and he's wearing those New Balances with the ill-fitting pants and she's wearing, very nice shoes or whatever. Like she seems to be quote unquote normal or appropriately dressed, and he is underdressed. And it sort of lends itself frequently through the imagery of suggesting that part of his flaw is that he's not stylish, he's not attractive. And it's like, I don't love that that's kind of where they're like, oh, you stop trying, like you stop trying to look good for me. And it's like at some point, like Steve Carell, his character is so redeemable that it's like that's the thing, right? Like it's not like he was a super high up guy at work and he was always working like the Arnold Schwarzenegger
You're my number one
Jingle All the Way.
customer.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Like at least it's like, oh, he's a little bit of a scumbag. I can see why you would want someone who's right. It's like, no, he seemed like he did nothing besides maybe just not read GQ frequently enough.
Yeah, maybe not put enough effort into himself, you could say,
Yeah,
which I think can be the sign of somebody trying to do so much for others that they don't take care of themselves. And I
sure.
guess maybe the movie is making a point by showing her that she is still putting forth that effort into herself. But because we don't see too much, we don't know, was she doing that before? Is she doing that because she's also putting in an effort to look good for David Lindhagen? I don't know.
Right.
And the thing is, it sort of suggests that throughout the movie, is she pursuing something with David? Maybe very slowly. Like they at least go on another date and she's not moving as fast as he is. And I feel like this is a common difference between like men and women that you hear about at times. He's moving faster, but she's taking steps towards a relationship while he's just having flings seemingly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that to me is very different as well.
Yeah.
I, I don't know. She's not treated enough badly for what she did bad. That's kind of my
Yeah.
feeling.
Yeah, I'll give you that. I also think that the Ryan Gosling character, who is a womanizer, and that's okay, like in the context of the movie, I get it. But he has one night with Hannah and he's a changed man. Like, I don't I think that I like the idea that a woman who is different from all the other women that he's spoken with has made him fall in love. Like, absolutely, 100%. I'm on board with this plot line. But I think that there's just gotta be more, Like we see them have one silly night and all of a sudden they're just a couple. That's it. It's locked in. It's like we needed a little bit more to see him be like, "Oh, this girl is special."
I feel like I didn't because I think what you get out of it is she calls him on everything. Like, the perfect example is she's there with her friend who is immediately like, take me, I'm yours type of thing. Like, there's a deleted scene where I can't even remember what it is that she says, but she is basically like, I will do whatever you want. Like, I will wear myself out for you. You know what I mean? Something
Yeah, yeah.
a little filthy. And every other woman seems to like go right along with his shtick. And the whole point is, one, the first time he approaches her, totally doesn't care. And then, which I'm sure already kind of makes him a little bit more interested that, yeah, she's already different in the sense of like, oh, she didn't just fall for the things I do for everyone else when look at me, I'm Ryan Gosling. You know what I mean? Then the second time when she comes back and is interested, she still doesn't like go along with the usual moves. She's like kind of calling it out like, this works, that works, like seriously. And I think the big thing too is Steve Carell says when he's, being Mr. Miyagi'd in his training by Jacob, and you never talk about yourself. You always get you got to seem interesting to me. You got to lead the conversation and tell me about you, but make it interesting. Don't bore me. She's the only person who finally gets him and wants him to talk about himself. And you could tell that it just like floods out of him. That's why we get the montage of him talking about his parents and talking about his dad, what kind of woman his mom was. And I do think something that's really nice in that scene is she talks about wanting to be R-rated because the PG-13 version of that scene is that she falls asleep, he kisses her on the forehead and pulls up the blanket. And I love that the end of that scene is he falls asleep, she kisses him on the forehead and pulls up the blanket. Like I'm like, that is very cute and tells me sort of everything I need to know about like their start. You know what I mean? In this movie where, like we said, there's so much going on that I don't need to spare more time for it. I guess if we're going to spare time somewhere, because the thing that's aged the most poorly probably is Robbie's pursuit of the babysitter Jessica.
Yeah.
She's constantly like, you're making me a little uncomfortable. And he's like, I will continue to do so. Thank you for letting me know at this time. Like,
yeah,
he feels very creepy at times where it's played off because he's a kid. And I think also people are very put off. And maybe we're a little oversensitive to it now because it is just supposed to be more so about like their cute connection and her saying like, don't give up on the idea of love, I guess. But she takes these nude photos for Cal, which already is like, it's a good thing those never get to him because,
yeah,
again, the person I was watching with made a very good point of saying Jessica's mom finds those photos and it's already a bad thing for her to find them. She makes a point to show them to her father. And I'm like, oh, you don't need to, you could have told him. You don't need to show it. She like passes it to him during like he's watching some kind of game. You know what I mean?
And he flips through. He doesn't just look at one. He looks at the others.
The whole thing.
And the other thing that's crazy to me too about this movie, just in terms of it aging, is that they make it a point multiple times to tell us that Jessica is 17. She's not 18. She's not a legal adult. Like this is now child pornography.
Yes. And we were going to say at the end, she obviously does not end up giving it to Cal, which leads to, a pretty climactic scene that I'm sure we'll talk about. But she does give it to
Robbie.
And it's like played as a very cute moment. And I get what they're going for. But watching this movie now 15 years later, which is crazy that this movie's 15 years old, it does come off a little gross.
Yeah. I felt that way too. I want to take a moment really quickly and just talk about Marissa Tomei because God damn it. What a gem.
She should be in everything. It upsets me that she's not.
Yeah, agreed.
She is so good in the 2 scenes of this movie that she's realistically in.
Unbelievable.
And one of my favorite lines of this whole movie is her talking about, I'm trying to remember the exact start of it, but it is during the parent-teacher conference. And she is slowly like revealing that she and Cal slept together without outright saying it. And what is it? She says something, I don't think I wrote it down, about when a man is, you go down on a man for 45 minutes because he's nervous. And it's the way, it is 100% her delivery that makes it very funny as like the situation's gotten worse and worse and worse. I don't know. I think she's fucking great. I've never seen her in anything and not thought she was great. I also
amazing.
think I'm very biased because I've seen her in movies since I was a kid and definitely have a crush on Marissa Tomei.
I mean, of course, but who among us doesn't? She's absolutely just unbelievable. She did win the Oscar for My Cousin Vinny, right?
She's an Academy Award winner.
Okay, good. I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, I think, I'm going to say this too about this movie. When we're at the end and Robbie is giving his speech, and we're going to go back to talk about the culminating scene, but at the end when Robbie is giving his speech, I just felt like this movie was like 10 minutes too long.
I get what you're saying. Like it could end a little bit sooner. There's also, I'm going to talk about in the facts, an alternate ending. And I think it's
Mm.
actually a great ending. I don't know exactly where it would have been placed and what it would have been instead of, but I really like it. Something I want to go back to because we mentioned Academy Award winners. I was looking it up for this movie because I'm like, the cast is so good. You know who has never been nominated or won an Academy Award?
Who?
Kevin Bacon. And I was kind of shocked by that. I was like, he's never been nominated? Like, he's a great actor.
Yeah. He looked a little like the Crypt Keeper in this movie.
You just mean he's very skinny? He's always very
Yeah,
skinny.
I know, but he's very skinny.
I don't know. I love Kevin Bacon. I think he's
Yeah,
great.
Kevin Bacon's great. I saw him on the street one time, right? Did I ever tell you this story?
I don't think you did.
So my college roommate had this Yorkie, like a what it was technically a Morkie, like a Maltese Yorkie mix. So it was white. And I don't remember exactly why we decided to do this, but we decided to go to Ricky's, which was like this really cool like hair and makeup place in the city.
I think you
And
have told me this, but go on.
we bought pink like animal like cruelty free like whatever hair dye so that we could dye her dog pink. And so we bought the shit and we went home and we dyed her pink and she looked so cool. And we took her for a walk to be like, we wanted to go back to Ricky's to be like, look, we did it. This is the dog. So we're walking down the street and this guy goes, oh my God, that dog is pink. And it's fucking Kevin Bacon. And I said, oh my God, you're Kevin Bacon. And he smiled and walked away.
Honestly, that sounds like so plausible to me. I really feel like I can picture that.
Upper West Side of Manhattan. Oh my God, that dog is pink. I said, oh my God, you're Kevin Bacon. He was also skinny then. That's how I recognized him. I was like, this man is very slender.
I was going to say, there's never been like a non-slender Kevin Bacon era.
I'm going to Google beefy Kevin Bacon and see what comes
I
up.
feel like you're going to get a weird AI result, but okay. You wouldn't ignore me if I was David Lindhagen is one of my favorite lines of this movie too.
Let's see. No, it's just some burgers. Yeah, he's really skinny. It's crazy.
You know who's a character who doesn't matter at all, but it's a joke that I find funny every time and I forget about every time?
Who?
Jessica's asking her friend if she can keep a secret, and she goes, "My lips are r." And she's
Yes.
very confused. She goes, "My lips are seals." And it feels like something that Amy Heckerling would have thought of as like slang for Clueless and would be like, no, that's too stupid. But for one line in this movie, they're like, yeah, it's fine for the one line.
Yeah. I also thought it didn't age well that the girl they were talking about, so the babysitter, whose name I don't remember, Jessica, thank you, was talking to like the really popular girl at school who apparently like sleeps with all the older guys. And she was like, how do you do it? And she was like, well, I have a huge rack. And like the whole how do you sleep with an older guy conversation between two teenage girls, I was like, eh.
I think I don't take it as badly because it feels like the implication for the other girl is like college guys or guys closer to their age at least.
Sure.
And then because when she asks her, like, how old are we talking, Jessica? And she's like, dad age, which comes off again really gross. This is their parents' friend. Like, it's a family friend.
Yeah.
And even the other girl is like, oh, you know what I mean? I think she says it in a
Yeah.
more positive way, but she has a reaction to how much older the guy is.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think, I don't know. It definitely comes off a little odd, like a little bit. It doesn't ruin the movie for me.
Do you think that if they were making it today, it would be the same thing? Or do you think they would do it differently?
It's a good question. I don't know if they would retool it maybe because Robbie is so important to the story, which is funny because the younger sister may as well not be in the movie. Like she's
Yeah.
barely a character, which is funny because she's gone on to be a pretty big actress. But Robbie is like crucial to the end of the movie is really seeing through Robbie's eyes that like maybe Cal and Emily will make it work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is interesting because it doesn't start off with Robbie being our point of view, but it at some point it does really become like we need to keep this kid's hope about love alive. But there might be ways to do that without him having to make Jessica extremely uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, we got to talk about the scene.
Okay. So Cal at some point is realizing maybe he's not interested in all these flings. He's never stopped missing Emily. He wants to try and win Emily back after Robbie's like, you gave up. You know what I mean? And so he goes to put together a mini golf course in the backyard, which I think is adorably sweet. I have no idea how he managed to do this in one day, but still.
He went to Home Depot.
He went to Home Depot, and I guess they were very helpful.
Yeah.
And things start to cascade and get worse and worse. Like they walk her in, blindfolded, the kids, and she still has her blindfold on, and then in walks Jacob, which you're like, what is Jacob doing here? With Hannah, who we then find out is Cal and Emily's oldest daughter, which Jacob's like, what are you doing with a daughter this old? Because they had her, that's why they got married so young. Which they do a really good job of. You don't even realize earlier in the movie, like they say in the car, I spoke to Nana on the phone today. She worries about us. And Emily agrees that she spoke to Nana. And we literally said while we were watching the movie, we're like, I guess that, I don't know which one of them's mother that's supposed to be, but I guess it's nice that they both are keeping in touch. They've been together a long time. Nana is the nickname for Hannah because she couldn't say H's when she was a little kid, which I couldn't say thirsty. I always remember as a kid, I used to go, I'm thirsty. And it would bring that up for a long time. It hasn't been brought up in a while, but
I don't think I ever knew that.
I'm thirsty. Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
So I think it's really well done the way that it is very subtly set up this whole time. And then you're finding out. Cal says it very well. He's seen too much to find out that Jacob is dating his eldest daughter. Then at the same time, you have Bernie coming over because Bernie has seen Jessica's photos that she had made for Cal in this envelope for Cal, thinks that something untoward is happening.
It recently came out that the gossip around town is that Cal has a lot of women coming in and out of his apartment, and particularly younger women. So they are already suspicious of him sleeping with younger women, and then they realize that potentially his daughter is their daughter is also one that, has come in and out of Cal's apartment.
To take a brief break from the scene we're talking about, do you think that this bar that Cal and Jacob are both at is just named like Daddy Issues? Like these women are just walking off with Cal and Jacob. No questions asked. I think Jacob's end line is always, you want to go home with me? He literally makes a point of saying, I say nothing about myself. So these women are just going home with this strange man or this strange older man.
It's really crazy. It's Corey was like, is this the only bar in this town? And I was like, LA? Like, what do you mean?
It shouldn't be, but apparently it is. Yeah. In reality, I feel like Cal would be at Chili's drinking and watching the sports game. Yeah.
100%. Yeah. Buffalo Wild Wings.
Yeah. He's not going straight to that like very expensive bar.
Yeah.
To go back to the scene we're talking about, though, Bernie shows up. And then, of course, who's the last one to show up? I'll give you a hint. He makes a cuckold of you.
David Lindhagen.
David Lindhagen. The non-beefy Kevin Bacon, as we've established. And it just becomes like a tussle between all four of them. And I'm trying to remember what's the line. Cal going, stay away from my daughter. Bernie going, stay away from my daughter. And David Lindhagen going, I don't even know you. And like all four of them are fighting.
It's so good. My favorite moment of this movie in total is when Steve Carell is so mad at Ryan Gosling and he's like, stay away from my daughter. And then David Lindhagen walks in and everyone's like, who are you? And he's like, I'm David Lindhagen. And immediately Steve Carell's like, David Lindhagen. And then Ryan Gosling rolls up his sleeves and goes, David Lindhagen. And walks up and he goes, you really put my friend through a lot of shit, and punches him in the face. So even though these two guys were just having a problem, Ryan Gosling immediately forgot about that problem to defend his friend and punch David Lindhagen in the face. And I was like, the relationships between men are just so much more wholesome than the relationships between women.
I do love the friendship they build and the fact that he does still, even though he's mad at him in this moment, he's like, David freaking Lindhagen? No way.
Yeah,
no way. Like, it is literally how they met, is because he heard him ranting about David Lindhagen, David Lindhagen, David Lindhagen. Yeah. He's made a cuckold of me.
I think Corey and Frank are like that. I think even if they were having a knockdown, drag out fight, if Frank's worst enemy walked in, Corey is rolling up his sleeves.
Well, I feel bad for Frank's worst enemy then, but yeah.
Yeah, he's fucked. And vice versa.
I suppose. Nothing personal to Frank, but yeah.
Oh, I didn't mean anybody was fucked. I just mean Frank would do it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So I have something written down here. Again, going back to the scene where outside of the parent-teacher conference, Emily gets to say, you showed me. Again, this is a direct quote from the person I watched the movie with. You made him into this. You don't get to be upset. Fuck her. And you know what? Absolutely 1000% true. Like,
Yeah.
Cal's only doing all this because he can't be doing what he actually wanted to do, which is just be her husband and with his kids.
I agree.
They do also make a good point of showing he never is doing any of this at like neglect of his children, or it never seems to be that way.
Yeah.
That's why another one of the scenes that I love, and the kid who plays Robbie does such a good job. His scene with Kevin Bacon, where he gets to make a point of being like, trying to remember what he says. I hear you're a great soccer player, Robbie. And he goes, I hear you broke up my parents' marriage, David. Like, and he just really puts him on blast about my dad's a better guy than you are. And I think it's, again, such a wholesome moment of he still has the utmost respect for his dad. Like, their marriage may not be doing well, but that doesn't mean he's not a great dad.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's a very sweet movie. I think the romantic part of it probably works the least. Like I said, you're never swooning. And I think that's because everybody is starting off in a broken way. You're never going, oh my God, the relationship is perfect and I love it. The closest you're getting is probably Jacob and Hannah. But even with that, Hannah is really helping Jacob because we see Jacob finally admit he's like, I'm not happy. Like, I do this every night because I think it's what I should be doing.
Yeah.
So all these people are broken and really just trying to refine themselves. So it's really not about the romance as much as it is about like the humor in the situation. I think it works really goddamn well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should we get to the facts?
Gab, I think we should.
Let's do it.
I want the truth!
Face the facts, ducks.
Facts have no place with an organized religion.
We'll start with our ratings on the Rotten Tomatoes tomato meter. It has an 80%, 187 fresh reviews, and 48 rotten. And Rotten Tomatoes has brought back the average rating out of 10. So this has a 6.9 out of 10 on average. An audience score of 78%, with an average score of 3.9 out of 5. And on IMDb, it is a 7.4 out of 10. It was released July 29th, 2011, with a budget of $50 million. It went on to gross $145 million, which is kind of impressive because the weekend it comes out, it opens in 5th behind Cowboys and Aliens,
Ugh.
The Smurfs,
Ugh.
Captain America, the First Avenger, and Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2.
Okay. Those are the two that are you're gonna have a hard
Yes.
time with. Yeah.
But obviously it, had legs and stuck around because even though it opened in 5th, it went on to make good money.
Yeah.
The critics' consensus, it never lives up to the first part of its title, but Crazy Stupid Love's unabashed sweetness and its terrifically talented cast more than make up for its flaws. Roger Ebert gave it 3 stars. Crazy Stupid Love is a sweet romantic comedy about good-hearted people. Imagine that. Owen Gleiberman from Entertainment Weekly, Crazy Stupid Love is the perfect combination of sexy, cute, wise, hilarious, and true. Rex Reed from The Observer, none of this is much fun to watch. The pace drags, the acting is without contrast or color. Katie Rich from Cinema Blend, throwing every style of comedy and romantic complication at the wall to see what sticks. The filmmakers find out too late that almost none of it does.
Yikes.
I think it's al dente. I think it sticks when you throw it. Letterboxd reviews?
Please.
Sophie, 5 stars for the famous fight scene, which may be the best plot twist in all of cinema history. 1 star for when the teenage girl tries to give her nudes to Steve Carell, but then gives them to his 13-year-old son instead.
Yeah.
Jay, bro, stop saying soulmate. You're scaring the hoes. This one's from Sri. Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone could text me at 9:39 p.m. and I would text back at 9:33 p.m. And this last one is from Ram, who simply said, fuck David Lindhagen.
But of course.
We respect. The movie is directed by Glenn Ficarra and John Requa, who also directed Focus, I Love You, Philip Morris, and Whiskey Tango Foxtrot. The screenplay is written by Dan Fogelman, who also wrote Cars, Tangled, and created This Is Us.
Oh.
The movie stars Steve Carell as Cal Weaver, you may know from The Office, The 40-Year-Old Virgin, and Foxcatcher. He's also in Rooster right now on HBO. Ryan Gosling as Jacob, who you may know from Project Hail Mary, Barbie, and The Notebook. Emma Stone as Hannah, who you might know from Poor Things, La La Land, and Easy A. Julianne Moore as Emily, who you may know from Boogie Nights, Still Alice, and Magnolia. Leo Tipton as babysitter Jessica, who you may know from Love Hurts, Vengeance, and Lucy. And Jonah Bobo as Robbie, who you may know from Zathura and The Backyardigans. The movie also stars Marissa Tomei as Kate, Kevin Bacon as David Lindhagen, Josh Groban as Richard, Joey King as Molly, John Carroll Lynch as Bernie, which we talked a few weeks ago about the character actor Mount Rushmore. John Carroll Lynch could be on there.
What else is he in?
He's great in everything. Fargo, he is Frances McDormand's husband in. There's a season of American Horror Story where he's like this killer clown guy. Gab, if you look up his IMDb, you're going to know him from 50 Things. And I feel bad that I can't think of more right now, but he's somebody who every time he pops up, I'm like, he's going to deliver. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Beth Littleford as Claire. The movie has
By the way, you awakened something in me when you said The Backyardigans. Have you ever seen The Backyardigans?
I haven't, but I've heard of it.
Oh
and
my
he's
God.
like one of the stars, I guess, of the show. He's in 79 episodes or something.
I guess. I don't know. I just know that my brother watched it when he was a kid, and it's like, it was such a like, what's it called? Like not a stimulating show. What are those? It's like Little Bear was like this, where it's very calming.
Okay.
It was just like so pleasant to watch. Like you'd end up just being like smiling at the TV, like,
I do feel like he does a really good job in this movie. So I'm like, I hope he got paid well from The Backyardigans. I hope he made a nice little career.
Corey looked up his IMDb to see, while we were watching the movie, to see if he recognized him from anything. And he goes, it looks like he went on after this to have a music career, which did not go very well.
I did not see any of the music stuff. I just saw like not that many credits after this, but
yeah.
I did note, just because of how good the cast is, you have 2 Academy Award nominees, Steve Carell and Ryan Gosling, and 3 Academy Award winners, Emma Stone, Julianne Moore, and Marissa Tomei. Specifically for this movie, Ryan Gosling was nominated for a Golden Globe for Best Performance by an Actor in a Comedy or Musical. And the movie was nominated for MTV Movie Awards for Best Female Performance for Emma Stone and Best Kiss for Emma Stone and Ryan Gosling.
How amazing.
Gab, you want to hear the fun facts?
I so desperately do.
While rehearsing for the scene of Ryan Gosling lifting Emma Stone in the air, Dirty Dancing style, Emma Stone did not realize she had a phobia of being lifted high up until the first time Gosling did it. She had a full-on meltdown, which Gosling described as like a possum falling out of a tree and trying to scratch your eyes out. Afterwards, she ran away crying and had to lie in bed watching Labyrinth to calm down. Her phobia came from when at age 7, she fell off the high bars in gymnastics and broke both her arms. They ended up using a body double for the lift, but they did use the recording of Stone's real screams.
Oh my God. I said in that scene, there are way too many fucking windows for this to happen. Like, too much glass. You can't be doing this. In the corner of the floor to ceiling windows, no way.
I am so glad that they do. I was like, does he do something for work? And they make a point of saying, like, his dad did really well in business. I'm like, okay. He's definitely crazy, wealthy from inheritance. Sure.
Yeah.
Emma Stone did talk about that on the Graham Norton show, that whole story. And she does describe like freaking out being in her trailer watching Labyrinth with David Bowie. And they came back together and she was like, I'll come back. Jennifer Connelly's a revelation in this movie. Like, she said something like that. I thought it was cute.
Oh my God.
Emma Stone is only 3 days older than Leo Tipton, who plays Jessica. However, her character Hannah is supposed to be 7 to 8 years older than Tipton's.
Oh my God.
When Ryan Gosling and Steve Carell discuss getting Mr. Miyagi, Gosling grabs Carell's nose and squeezes, playfully saying, honk. It's a reference to Karate Kid 2, where Mr. Miyagi honks the nose of an opponent instead of striking him. And he goes on to do that a couple times in the movie. I never thought about it, though.
Yeah.
The part where Marissa Tomei's character props her leg on the coffee table and you can see Steve Carell framed by her legs is a homage to The Graduate. This is the feature film debut of Josh Groban.
Wow. Good for him.
Robbie sends the text, Demi Moore is 15 years older than Ashton Kutcher. They seem happy together. To Jessica, while his teacher is giving a lecture about the Scarlet Letter. Demi Moore also starred in a movie adaptation of the Scarlet Letter in 1995. And a couple years after this movie was released, Ashton Kutcher and Demi Moore divorced.
So what you're saying is this movie broke up Demi Moore and Ashton Kutcher.
Perhaps Demi Moore was made uncomfortable watching this movie.
Could be.
Steve Carell has said he does not like the title of the movie because you can't picture 5 guys in college going to get tickets for Crazy Stupid Love. He preferred the working title at one point, which was The Wingman, which I kind of think that might be a better one too for like general awareness.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that it makes it more about Steve Carell instead of trying to be about like all of these relationships.
Because it's about everything, it's almost too generic. It's like when those ensemble movies like Valentine's Day would come out or like New Year's Eve or whatever.
Yeah.
One of the first things Gosling was in was a pilot called The Unbelievables that Steve Carell was also in. They didn't have any scenes together, but Gosling talked about watching Steve Carell be so funny that the boom operator had to put down the boom and hold his ribs. And he was like, I want to be on this guy's level.
Wow.
Steve Carell said the worst dating advice he ever got was his mom told him in the third grade that he should give the girl he had a crush on chocolates in front of the other kids at school, and that he never lived it down.
Oh God.
So there is an alternate ending, and I think this is really cute. It's Cal and Emily coming back saying it was a successful first date, and now what they do. And it cuts to Cal and Emily inside the house trying to do the Dirty Dancing lift.
Oh, I love that.
I think that's an adorable button to end on. Whether it just be that they already had a connection to that movie, which makes it even cuter than that Jacob and Hannah did it, or that Jacob told him it's his big move, and then they were just like, let's do this. Either way, I think that's freaking adorable. And I'm like, why would we cut that out?
Yeah. Now, do they, I know you don't know this, but like, do you think it's successful or does it crash and burn and they're laying on the floor laughing?
It shows them starting to do it. And each time they're like not quite getting it and they're giggling and laughing at like not quite getting it as they continue to try again.
Oh, I like that.
I'll send you the deleted scene if I can find it again.
Yeah, please do.
Okay. That's all the facts I've got. The one fact I couldn't find that I tried desperately to is I wanted to see how they filmed. There's a great oneer in this movie where it is the camera is going through the bar, and each time it's going through, we see Steve Carell with a different woman in an unbreaking shot. And I'm like, ooh, how the fuck they do this? Is it just that the camera is programmed so that they could keep placing him in a different spot and it's doing the same move every time and they're literally just moving him through the space? I really wanted to find that, and you can't find it.
How did they do Birdman?
Birdman has hidden cuts. You can definitely see it at times. Like there are times where he's going out a door and like it hits the frame of the door and you're like, they cut on the frame of the door. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure it's still very impressive from a filmmaking standpoint, but I just wanted to find how they did it for this scene and I couldn't find it.
We need to fucking do Birdman too.
Do we have to?
Yes. Yeah, we do. Emma Stone is in it.
Fine.
Thank you. And Michael Keaton. Come on. Don't you love Batman, you fucking loser?
I like Michael Keaton in general. I rewatched The Founder recently, and I don't think that movie's great, but he's great in it.
I have no idea. I've never heard of it.
It's about the guy who founded McDonald's. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
It's good. I think it's still on Netflix.
All right.
Yeah, should we get to some big fat mail?
Oh, let's hit him with the mail. Sorry. I don't know. I didn't plan that well. Can we do that again, or is it too late?
I want to leave all of it. No.
All right. All right.
Mail time! When you control the mail, you control information.
Mom asked me to ask you if there's any mail for us here by mistake.
What?
So there's a comment from Scotty on Spotify, which you should listen on Spotify and follow us there and follow us in all the places and blah, blah, blah. We're really bad about doing that, I feel like, in general.
Well, I feel like if they're listening to us, they're listening to us. Like, this is not the time. People,
hound your friends.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you have friends, tell them to listen, but...
You don't have friends, you have us. Yeah.
Yeah. We don't have friends, we have us.
So here's what Scotty said. Great episode. Funnily enough, Frankie Muniz was such a huge part of my childhood because it seemed every guy wanted to be him and every girl wanted him, which is a very different memory of Frankie Muniz than I have, but okay.
Yeah, he was also a child. What are you talking about?
Well, Scotty was even more of a child, I presume. I think Scotty was probably like 3 years old, and he was like, look how popular he is. He's hanging out with Amanda Bynes. He's with Angie Harmon and Agent Cody Banks.
He's a ladies' man, yeah.
Hillary Duff, yeah.
Yeah.
However, Big Fat Liar fell under the radar. I saw the Agent Cody Banks movies in kindergarten during Y Care. I don't know if you have that in New York. Basically, it's more schooling for kids whose parents couldn't pick them up at the end of the school day. I watched plenty of Malcolm in the Middle growing up. Now I want to watch The Revival, which I've heard is good.
Yeah.
I added that I've heard is good. He didn't say that.
Yeah.
But I was very right. He was in fucking kindergarten. So yeah, to him, he was like, look at this grown-up who every woman wants to hang out with.
God, don't you remember seeing like 13-year-olds and being like, wow, I can't wait till I'm an adult.
I feel like Scotty Cameron was like, man, I hope he's staying safe with a cootie shot. You know what I mean?
Oh God, yeah. I'm 34 and I'm like, damn, I can't wait till I'm an adult.
Yeah, I remember I was 16. I was watching Batman the Animated Series and Justice League, and now I'm almost 34 and I'm watching Batman the Animated Series and Justice League.
Yep. Sounds right.
We have a comment on YouTube from Scotty Cameron.
Oh wow. Hit him twice.
I'm just glad he's here because otherwise we have no mail. It's him
Oh
and
God.
Kyle holding this float up. The memory's unreliable comment was in relation to Gab remembering Dylan liking Saw American Axe Murderer more than he actually did.
Ah.
The memory can change the color of a car is just me using the opportunity to reference the movie Memento. While we're on the subject of a Mike Myers movie about murder, I did want to address the real life murderer who starred in the Austin Powers movies with Mike Myers. So I just wanted to make a few corrections about Joe's son and clear some things up that were foggy. Firstly, Son successfully killed his cellmate and was convicted of voluntary manslaughter for killing his cellmate, which it feels weird to say. He successfully did it. Like, way to go.
Yeah. We're really celebrating his successes.
Which added an additional 27 years to his prison sentence. He was initially arrested for felony vandalism, not theft, and part of his plea bargain required him to provide DNA samples to the authorities, which linked him to a 1990 cold case for sexual assault. Son was going to face 275 years in prison for 5 counts of sexual assault, 2 felony counts of forcible sodomy, and several other crimes. I'm not listing them all here. I'm so glad you could list those fun ones, Scotty.
Yeah. Thanks for keeping it light.
However, the charges were dropped because the statute of limitations expired on those crimes, and so Son had to be charged with conspiracy to commit murder and torture, for which Joe's son would be sentenced to life in prison. My mother watches a lot of 48 Hours Mystery and Dateline, so that's how I'm familiar with this case. His victims actually loved the Austin Powers movies and owned copies of them, and she never knew that Random Task was the guy who... I'm not going to say this part about what was done to the son, but it's something we named before.
Yeah.
When she figured it out after his conviction, she got rid of her copies.
Good for her.
No transition at all. Since Homeward Bound and My Dog Skip came up during the episode, I must say those movies are now making me feel like a jackass, or at least Homeward Bound makes me feel like a jackass. It's because of this podcast too. Every time I see a clip from Homeward Bound on social media or I see it flipping through channels, I start laughing uncontrollably because all I'm thinking about is Gab saying, "You can Venmo me for the emotional damage caused by this film."
Honestly, though, I'm still waiting for my reparations.
No. And quotes like that from the Homeward Bound episode that play on repeat when I see it. It's just seeing Peter say, "Come on, Shadow. He was old. It was too far. He was just too old."
Oh, that's what they say about you now.
Peter, I missed you so. Triggered the quote from Gab about emotional damage. I start laughing. I'm just telling myself to stop laughing. It's not funny, you jackass. Don't worry, Homeward Bound isn't the only movie that this podcast has made me laugh at the wrong moments, because now Superman's speech about how he's as human as anyone from Superman, I hear Gab say, "Now keep this nice young Jewish boy away from horses." With Till's response of, "My God, you went back to that joke, Gab." I love that somebody remembers things we say, because I don't remember any of that, but it's funny.
Me neither, but when it comes up, I'm like, damn, we are funny.
Once in a while.
Yeah.
I was watching Superman with my family at Christmas time, and when that scene came on, I had to step out to control my laughter because that bit from the podcast popped into my mind. I guess this is what happens when you have an asshole who likes movies like Vampire's Kiss and you listen to podcasts. You manage to find some brain rot in every podcast you listen to. I'm running out of steam. Stay yappy, and thanks, Gab, for that Nicolas Cage interview clip you sent me. Even Nick Cage knows how special a movie like Vampire's Kiss is.
Yeah, there was did I send it to you too? The clip of Nick Cage talking about the meme. Yeah. I was like, I have to send this to Scotty.
I didn't know you would send it to him. So I saw you send it to me, and then Scotty posted on his stories, and I thought maybe he showed you the clip.
No.
So we have a couple of comments on our shorts. This one from Lenola Cola. Dang, I missed the face reveal episode, which so did Gab. I just put that on her. I was like, bam, video.
Oh my God. Guys, I sit here. We are on Zoom, and so Dylan can see me, but I sit here like no one is looking. I am in my pajamas. I'm often like fresh out of the shower, just chilling. And all of a sudden, Dylan was like, and now we do video.
I've got to cut around Gab picking her nose, picking stuff out of her teeth.
It is a shit show over here, everyone.
And then one more comment on Should Paul Giamatti Have an Oscar, the short we did, where Wiz of a Uz? Now I sound like I'm starting a musical. The wonderful Wizard of Uz? He said, I would have given it to Walken personally.
Oh, well, okay.
And then we have an email from the other person who gives mail to this podcast. Kyle from the Film Realist podcast on Crazy Stupid Love.
Okay.
Crazy Stupid Love is a great example of a film that has divorce as a central story point, but doesn't just make it that two people hate each other. We actually get to see a constructive relationship and what are the benefits of two people separating, and everybody seems to be happier at the end of it. On top of that, it's crazy how stacked this cast is. Of course, you have Julianne Moore and Steve Carell, but Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone on the cusp of becoming A-listers, and obviously this is a dynamic that we got to see from the two of them in other films down the line, but this is one of those romantic comedies that has so much more substance than so many others. It's really funny and heartwarming at the same time, and has its own iconic moments, aside from the fact that there are great supporting characters like Kevin Bacon as David Lindhagen, which is just such a great reveal, as well as the chaos at the ending of how these other relationships come to a head. It's just so great, and I'm really glad that you guys are looking at it this week.
I'm shocked, because were you not waiting for a question that we were not prepared for?
I spent the whole time thinking, oh God, what's he going to ask me about divorce? What's he going to ask me about Emma Stone? What's he going to ask me about?
He's got a question about Kevin Bacon? What?
Yeah.
Who's
your David Lindhagen?
I feel bad because you know who my David Lindhagen is. I feel bad because we didn't. I feel like neither one of us listened to that properly, because we were like, where's the question? Where's the question?
Here it comes. Here it comes.
But I agree with everything you said there. A great cast. Really good movie. Did we think it was a movie to watch before you die? There's only one way to find out. Stay for the verdicts. They're right now, so it should be easy.
Do or do not. There is no try.
The guilty will be punished.
Sentence is death.
All right, Gav, this is your movie. I feel like we did a lot of negative talk about this one, so I'm intrigued to hear what you say.
Yeah. I'll be honest, I'm still on the fence. I think that this is a very fun little movie. I like that it is it feels like an ensemble movie. I remember the first time I saw it, the scene where everything culminates and they're at the backyard and they get into the fight is so funny. David Lindhagen walking in, like, you can't beat it. I do feel like I have always been a little bit disappointed, is maybe the wrong word, but like just a little let down by the lack of like emotional depth of the movie, because I think talking about falling in love or falling out of love or a relationship falling apart and a new relationship building, or people falling, separating and coming back together. Like, these are very deep and emotional topics. And I feel like this movie is just so surface level that it almost reminds me of like seeing a poster for the Titanic versus like watching the Titanic. Like, it's just, you're not in it, so you don't know how powerful it feels. But you're like able to intellectualize, like, oh, this is nice. Like, they love each other, but you're not quite feeling it.
At least it's not like being in a submersible on the way to the Titanic.
You know what? Amen to that. Although they were adults and they could do what they wanted with their money. Not all of them were adults, but the people who paid for the tickets were adults. They knew the risks. They signed the waivers.
They had crushes in the movie. They were crushed in the submersible.
Exactly.
A lot of
but
similarities.
You know what? They came back in their shoeboxes of goo, and all is right with the world. So this is what I'll say. I think that it's so interesting to talk about the marketing of the movie and the title of the movie and whatever. And I think if it had been marketed differently and it wasn't like a rom-com and it was just a com and it was about a wingman or whatever, that I would probably be a little bit more on board, because it's not that I don't like it. It's just that it doesn't quite deliver on the promises that it makes for me. And so I'm actually going to say, after many times of watching it and every time being like, maybe I just wasn't in the mood for this, my answer is, I think it's a good movie. I do not think it's a movie to watch before you die.
Wow. It's very rare. I feel like we could have less than 10 times where like the person who suggested the movie ends up changing their mind on it. But
I know.
I'm very, very intrigued, very proud of your honesty.
Thank you. And again, I want to remind everybody that the reason I said we should watch this movie is not because I was like, oh, I love this movie, it's great. It's because of the Josh Groban thing.
We did it for Groves. We did it for the Groves.
Did it for the Groves.
I don't think anybody calls him that, but I'm going to keep calling him that.
Well, that's a friend to the podcast.
Friend of the podcast. He's one of our 2 to 2 million listeners, maybe. I don't know.
Could be.
So, having seen this movie before, watching it again, I feel like it's a really good movie when I think less of the romantic aspect and think more of the comedic aspect. When I think about how much this movie is about refining and taking care of yourself and being honest with yourself. Some stuff is aged poorly, but it doesn't affect me that much, the stuff that has. And as much as we talked about all that, I just think the performances are so good and carry this movie so far. Like, obviously, we talked about the incredible cast. And I think the funny thing is, I'm going to say, I think it is a movie to watch before you die. I think it's really fun. It's not like I wouldn't recommend it as like this perfect romance movie, but it's a really good comedy. I wouldn't compare it to like When Harry Met Sally is the other one you put up there. And that is so much more that's the perfect center of the rom-com scale. And this definitely leans more towards the com than the rom.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that would be fine if it wasn't set up as this like extraordinary movie about love. It's just not. And I think
if it was crazy, stupid fun, then would you
yeah, exactly. Crazy, stupid, good times.
Zany, silly fun.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's just it's doesn't deliver on its promises.
It's not enough love, but it is enough crazy and stupid.
I would say they're probably, if we're not going to have love, then it wasn't crazy or stupid enough.
The ratios were off.
The ratios were off, but it's okay. There will always be next time. So, Dylan, may I say the things we say?
I insist you do.
Okay. Thank you so much for listening to the Movies to Watch Before You Die podcast. My name is, no, I'm just kidding. You can do a number of things if you want to. You can write us an email at movies-to-watch-before-you-die@gmail.com. In that email, you can click the little paperclip and include an attachment, which can be whatever you want. You can send a voice note, you can send a picture, you can send a meme, you could send a number of things. But please don't send us naked pictures.
Don't send me no nudes, no spreadsheets.
Yeah, those are two things that we will not accept.
Don't spread your sheets and don't send spreadsheets.
Yeah, exactly. You will find in that link tree below a link to our friends at the Hall of Pods podcasting network. Check out some of their stuff. You will find a link to our store where you can buy some cool merch. And you'll also find things like our social media, my Venmo, all of the things that you're so desperately looking for in your hour of need. And last but not least, let us know what you think about this movie and any of the other movies that we've reviewed or any movie that you'd like us to review. We are always open to suggestions, much in the same way that there's a suggestion box at your office. No one's looking at it, but if it makes you feel better, you can put something in there.
Yeah, answer Gab's questions. You wouldn't ignore this podcast if we were David Lindhog.
Asshole, as in someone who uses honesty to get a woman into bed with him, but is actually full of shit like the rest of them? This is not about Robbie. Asshole. As in someone who allows a woman to go downtown for 45 minutes because he's nervous. Ew.
All right.